That's kind of backwards because if you are not involving those who will experience change to be your greatest champions right from the beginning, how can you expect that there's going to be sense of ownership, right?
Yeah, I'm so intrigued to get your take on this world that we're living in, this world of a constant tension where we feel pressure to innovate, to keep up, to remain competitive, where we feel pressure from the outside by the advancing state art of the possible. Like every day it feels like there's something new in AI and people are telling you AI can do anything, which isn't always the case, but that pressure is there. So I'm really curious to kind of get your take on this. I'm wondering if I can step back, Celia, and ask you a simple but hard question. In today's world, what is innovation?
That is indeed, like a tough question, and I would say I'm always inclined to practical innovation, right? So one thing is for you to have like a think tank and be talking about innovation and be writing about innovation, but I have been always a lot more biased to implementing innovation and
Sure.
seeing. I take a lot of, I don't know, I think that my energy comes from seeing the impact of innovation applied to business problems, to people's workflows. So I would say that that's what's somewhat fascinating about what we have been living, like the accelerated pace of innovation that we have all been experienced especially the last, let's say, 5 to 10 years, has allowed for that to become more visible. So you're not seeing organizations, or even in our consumer life, we're no longer waiting like several years for everybody to try it out and for us to be convinced that okay, I should be really looking into this. There's more of that, um, that early adoption type of mindset,
Yeah,
and
this experimental, let's try it out, let's see what
let's try it
happens.
out. Yeah, and part of it because of the fear of missing out, which okay, what's going to happen, how much disruption am I going to be experiencing? Am I going to be on the, let's say, on the corporate side, is like, are my competitors going to outpace me, and if I don't start right away? And in our personal lives, it's almost, am I going to be no longer um, you know be able to advance in my career, or not be able to compete with my peers if I'm not adopting some of this practical innovation, right? So I'd say
Yeah.
that's where I think that innovation is about transforming something that you do and the ways that you do things, and that openness to to not doing things always the same way that they have been done before, and there's
And that's
just
a tough mindset,
very
right?
tough.
Like that's a mindset that you have to be willing to take some risk. And I think, that's, the counter side of innovation, the flip side is always this kind of risk assessment. But I think it's a really interesting point. And you said something else early on that I want to maybe put a point on and talk about a little. Right. You talked about it has to be something that is implemented. It can't just be an idea. It can't just be a think tank concept. And, at least in my mind, innovation is not innovation if it doesn't get people to change behavior,
Mhm.
right? Like people change behavior when there's a better way of doing things. That's innovation. Let me start there. Do you agree, or can innovation, can change be forced?
Uh, I think we have so many examples, like day in and day out, that it is really hard for change to be forced, right? And that's partly why so many projects in this area fail, is because I think we have had, for a very long time, have had this idea that change management, training, communications happen at the end, after we have tried everything, everything has gone
Yeah.
well. You
What a
try
interesting point. Yeah.
it. That's kind of backwards because if you are not involving those who will experience change to be your greatest champions right from the beginning, how can you expect that there's going to be sense of ownership right? And enthusiasm to embrace change and to do things differently. So I think part of it is just this, like in some ways, a bit of that waterfall type of mindset that we have operated in. Probably because of the risk, being very risk averse. We don't want to
Yep.
disappoint those stakeholders if something doesn't work, right? But then we're missing out on involving them and having that sense of joint ownership.